lot and all that. And they're driving up to this big Astrodome-looking place. And he said, I can't believe this many people want to still hear me sing. He
Right.
was so shocked.
Well, that's like Cliff Gleaves. He was upstairs at Elvis's suite when he had first seen the Astrodome. And he says, "You mean to tell me they want me to fill this son of a, you know?" And he just couldn't believe it, And of course he did. He broke records,
Yes,
and
he
that's where
did.
I first met him was at the Dome. Yeah, actually, I met him at the Astroworld Hotel, but that's where he was staying. So.
Now, how did you get to meet him at the Astroworld Hotel?
Well, make a long story short, my father had met him back in 54, late 54, I believe, because my uncle had booked him at the Eagles Hall in Houston. And my father was there, and Elvis wanted to meet Hoot Gibson, the silent cowboy star who was on the bill. And he was pretty shy about it. My father took him over and introduced him, and they realized that they both were into cowboys and stuff. And when Elvis found out that my dad knew Gene Autry, well, there you are.
Oh man, that's it. That
And
is
because
it.
Gene Autry was Elvis's favorite cowboy. In fact, when Elvis's record "That's All Right, Mama" played for the first time on WHBQ in Memphis, he was at a Gene Autry double feature at the Suzor Theater. And
When the record
so
played.
he
Oh,
right, yeah, he was too nervous to hear it, and his parents had to come down and pull him out of there and take him down to the radio station. And Dewey Phillips, the DJ, was interviewing him and everything. And Elvis said, "Well, when did we do the interview?" He said, "Well, we did it. It just went off live." Elvis would have been too nervous
oh right,
otherwise.
oh right. Oh man, but that was the charm of Elvis when he was being interviewed, and he'd look
And
down,
I
look
didn't
out.
answer your question, but I'm just saying that's the first time that my father met him. But fast forward, Elvis is coming to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And there's Buck Owens and Roy Clark coming too, and Bobby Goldsboro. I really wanted to see Buck and Roy because I liked Hee Haw at the time, believe it or not. But my father had said that he had known Elvis, and so he arranged it with Colonel Parker. And then we met with Colonel Parker, met Joe Esposito, and Joe took me over, and Elvis said, "Hi, I'm Elvis Presley," like I didn't know.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so, and and that's where it started. And just about a year later, my parents and sister were killed in a train accident. And Elvis just his heart went out to me, and that's how I got to hang around occasionally.
But they never called you a mafia guy, right? You weren't the Memphis
Uh,
Mafia.
Richard used to joke around, say, "You're the junior member of the Memphis Mafia," but he says that's not official. you know,
It's not official.
Richard Davis is one of Elvis' guys, and he said that Elvis was grooming me to work for him eventually. But yeah, I was just a teenager at the time. I was just a kid that got to hang around. So
Good grief.
I've met people, and people have said, "Well, what you said that you lived at Graceland and da da da," and I said, "I never lived at Graceland. Are you kidding me?" Because I tell a story and then it gets changed around like 10 times and somebody's writing it. But no, Elvis just took time out for me, when he could.
That's that's perfect. So everybody that read in my in my on my Facebook about him living at Graceland, that's not true. Okay, that's not true. Uh, I think I put that you went there and well, he had you come down and you went back and forth to Houston to Memphis
Oh yeah, that
several
that's
times.
true. That's true. I mean, I didn't live at Graceland. That's the whole point. Like
Oh, okay,
somebody came
okay.
out, did that, and then they said that, you know, or they just, blew it out of proportion.
Hmm.
So I just got the record straight right here on your show, Cindy.
Thank you,
You're,
thank
you're
you.
my source. What is it? You're my sole inspiration. What the Righteous Brothers, would sing about.
Look at that.
Remember that picture?
Look at that picture, and then don't look at me. Don't put the camera on me. No, that's a picture that you had, and I was shopping in Kroger, talking to Don on the phone, and tell me what you said. Elvis said,
Well, I would bug him about things and stuff. So, and then I'd mention and stuff. And so I said, I showed him, I said, isn't she gorgeous? He says, yeah, man, she's beautiful, something like that. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that's good
But
enough. That's good enough. Just that's just right. Stop right there. 'Cause-
been a long time, because I mean,
wow.
I'm still like this. It's like I was, oh, Cindy, check this out. The same thing with me. Elvis came out on the cover of Country Music Magazine in 1975. And I think I was the first one that showed it to him. And he was like all excited. And he was like, well, why don't I got a picture of me on the cover in Flaming Star? you know, Instead of the way he appeared at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I think he thought you were gorgeous, Cindy. Yeah, there you are.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to keep this tape forever and play that back. That what's so funny is I didn't know where that picture was, and it was a publicity picture that someone took when I was getting ready to record. They took a picture of that, and then you said you asked Channel 13 for it.
Well,
Is
yeah,
that where you got?
I admired you and Dave Ward a lot, and so I just asked, I guess, publicity department for a couple of pictures. Dave signed one for me, and I got that one with you. So,
That's so sweet. Richard, are you impressed? Okay, he shrugged his shoulders.
hi, Richard.
At least he's listening. but anyway, so that made my whole life year. So I appreciate so much the conversations we would have while I was shopping at Kroger because I was always at Kroger when we talked. And you tell me all these
There's a plug
stories.
right there.
Well, I'll tell you, you told me so many stories. I can't even repeat on the air, but they were so extremely bonding with Elvis and all the celebrities that you've met. So you you had a different, eyewitness view of Elvis, and it was eyewitness view of Elvis, and it was a caring and warm and funny guy. And I think a lot of us that have watched all the movies, watched all the concerts and him on Ed Sullivan and all that. And then for him to do that 68 special
Oh
was
yeah,
totally mind blowing.
yeah. That's the very first. I'd seen a couple of his movies, like when I was a kid, but they made a big thing about uh, Elvis, Elvis, NBC, and then you'd see a little promo, and he's like, or if you're looking for trouble,
Oh,
and so
yes.
yeah, that was December '68. I remember that's the very first time I saw him perform. Of course, was on television, and Anne Margaret had a special coming up too, who I love, and then she was on the cover TV Guide that week. I still have it,
Well,
and yeah, but the Colonel, and I got something of the Colonel I want to show you too.
okay.
The Colonel wanted Elvis to come out like in the movie. That's all true, and do 26 Christmas songs.
26.
And so he
Oh,
wanted to be, like a mammoth Christmas thing, beating Bing Crosby and Andy Williams and all of that. So, he wanted to make those sales of Elvis's Christmas album, that he had done in 1957. So,
1957. Oh, great.
well, he was still plugging along with that, but,
Hmm.
and then he met with Steve Bender, who's a really cool guy. And he said, where do you think my career is? And pretty much is like nowhere, but we can do something about it. And so with his team, they put together a great special that to this day is a classic. I mean, put him into black leather, and he killed it.
Well, what's funny is because Steve Ender had said that they had to do something with the Colonel because he was pressing and thinking they were going to do this Christmas show, and that Bob Finkel, is it
Yes.
Bob Finkel, kept Colonel Parker busy by taking him and whining and dining him and gambling because he loved to gamble, and kept him busy while they put together this award-winning, had nothing to do with the Colonel project, and Colonel Parker was so upset about it after it became like number one of everything. He then took credit for it. Was that pretty much?
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say. And he never called Steve Bender. He called him Bendel.
which really got to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, see, I don't know, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to keep the language clean. Don't worry, Dick.
Okay.
But it's just like he told Elvis he didn't want him to do that song, "If I Could Dream," and he left, and I think Steve was a little disappointed, and he said, "I don't care what the OSOB says." So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, that movie
but
did.
anyway, if Elvis had just put his foot down more,
Yes, I mean, because that movie did make him, and that movie made Bender, the new movie, made Bender such a hero to everybody because it's like he was not going to let the Colonel dictate what they were going to do with Elvis because he knew that Elvis had had it with the movies, he'd had it with all that stuff, and that he was going to try and bring him into like today. But that the Dream song was so interesting, how that affected him and how badly he wanted to do that type of song. And that was just, what was it, right before Martin Luther King was assassinated,
oh,
or was it
it
after?
was right after Martin Luther King was in April 4th, 1968, in Memphis. Of course, Elvis's hometown, and then it was Bobby Kennedy in June. I mean, that had just
Had
happened
happened,
while
yeah.
they were shooting the special, and of course, right after Bobby was shot, that's when you know the song was written, and it was specifically written for Elvis to sing by W. Earl Brown, and I did interview Earl about that. So that was his assignment:
Well,
write this dynamite song and bring it in tomorrow, and he did.
that's
He delivered.
amazing. That's some of the best songs are written like that fast. But I know that uh, Bill Morris is right.
Yeah,
Bill Morris is the sheriff, was the sheriff of Memphis, and the mayor of Memphis. So that's his book right there.
there's his book right here. Yeah, he was the
That's
sheriff and the
awesome.
mayor of Memphis, and you can see him there. He is in the back. I told you I'd have some props.
Yes, you do. Oh, that's great. Because we're going to interview Bill. I called and talked to him on the phone. He's so cute. He's like almost 90 years
Right.
old, and he's so cute. And he was talking about uh, Elvis and I were good friends. Elvis went to school with my wife, and we all grew up the same way, so we understood each other, and it was great. And when I brought in James Earl Ray, and because he went and arrested him and brought him to uh, extradite him back to Memphis, and so that must have all played in Elvis's mind when he sang this song. He knew that. All that had happened, how tragic that was. And we started feeling like, at that time, Americans were feeling like this country's coming apart. And we were very, I don't know, it just didn't feel like the same country, and that what's next? Who's next? And that kind of thing. So it's so interesting. I can't wait to talk to Bill Morris. And he is going to be on the 12th of August. And so we'll talk about.
Oh, Bill is a great guy. He's one of my best friends, and in fact, last time I visited with him, he took me through all his archives and stuff, and
Oh,
it's just
man.
amazing. His life is incredible, and it's not just a plug for his book, but I do want everybody to go out and get it because it
Right.
is amazing. He's an amazing fella, and I'm honored to have him as a friend.
And he's doing all this himself too. He's like, you want the book, you got to contact me. Don't
Right,
contact you,
right.
contact me. So, but he will be on. And Don, you have introduced me to so many people that I've been able to call and have on the air. And I have to start off with, I'm a friend of Don Nelson, and then they're always like, well, if you're a friend of Don Nelson, you're a
Don
friend of.
Wilson,
I mean,
you
Don.
mentioned Don Nelson
Don.
on
Oh my
13,
word.
right?
How
Nice
many?
guy, tallest guy I ever met.
It's it's so funny because when I first met you and you said your name Don Wilson, immediately thought of Don Nelson, and so I kept calling you that all through that time when I was over at the other studio and you'd call. So I'm so sorry because I
Yeah,
thought I had finished
that's all
doing that.
right.
But you have
Before I forget,
introduced
I got
me.
to show you some stuff I got from Colonel Parker.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now everybody's got like little message pads, right?
Right.
This was the Colonel's.
From the desk of
Colonel
Colonel
Tom
Tom
Parker,
Parker.
and at the very bottom, this space for message.
And that little that little part at the bottom for the message and that big Tom Parker. So anyway, you know everybody, and I believe that now because all the people that you had me be able to call and have on the show, and I was telling Sam, said I'm talking to Bill Morris. He's the one who arrested. He said, well, how'd you get a hold of him? I said, through Don. He goes, why don't you call this the Don Wilson show, and that you're just going to talk to all the people that Don knows. And I went, I don't think that's a good idea.
We can have the Don and Cindy show, or the Cindy and Don
Yeah,
show.
that's that'd be
Yeah,
fun. That'd be
one
fun.
last thing I wanted to show you from the Colonel. You know, of course, you saw the movie, and they were talking about the Snowman's League and all
Yes.
of that.
Yeah.
Now, the Colonel either liked you or he didn't, but evidently he liked me, and of course, I was just a kid. But I'll read this to you real quick. It says, the Snowman's League of America, Chief Potentate, Colonel Tom Parker, confidential report dealing with advanced techniques of member snowers. You got a little snowman there.
Yes, I see that. That is.
And he said, the Colonel said, it's very important for you to read this front to back and understand everything that you read. Now, when you thumb through this, there's nothing there. And then the Colonel said, you got to learn to read between the lines.
There you go. Well, he did have a sense of humor then. But
And there's my snowman's card.
that's your snowman's car. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great thing to have, especially with this movie out and people say, you know, we never heard Colonel Parker talk. I mean, I don't remember him ever being on an interview or anything like that, watching TV at that time. And so when I sat down and here comes Tom Hanks and he's talking with this like this, supposed to be a Dutch accent. That just like, what? He really, is that how he sounded?
Not really. It was too heavy. I know why Tom did it. You know, he's trying to get into the character, but you know, you say, Colonel, where's Elvis? You just missed him. Yes, sir. He talked really good. Hi, it's just like, I got bad back. But, you know, it's tough to do the Colonel's voice, but
Well,
yeah,
it was.
wasn't that heavy.
I think it was tough for Tom Hanks to. I was just wondering what
He did a
kind
good job as far as his personality.
personality. But
Yeah.
when he opened his mouth and started talking, it sounded like he was from some Transylvania place or something. He was so high, and the voice was so high. I was just like, what happened to him? And then found out that he didn't have a passport, and he was kind of like an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, he was in the United States Army, though. You would have thought that would have cleared that up. And like Sonny West told me, he said, well, the Colonel was good friends with President Johnson. Johnson could have taken care of that back in the day. I don't know
Oh,
why he didn't do that, you know. But
interesting.
now,
That's
you know, there's
interesting.
a lot of things I didn't like about the Colonel as far that I found out later, or what he did with Elvis's career and this and that. But he did keep his promise that, you know, he would have $1 million in his pocket by the end of the first year, and
Right.
you know, he'd make him the biggest star in the world. So he kept that promise. But
Yeah, but
I think he, I agree with him.
Elvis had 1 million and he had three, so it didn't that wasn't fair. It seemed like the whole time, and I don't know how much Colonel Parker took. They said they were going to do it 50-50. So if Elvis had 1 million and he had 1 million, that'd be fine. But it seemed like he kind of squandered Elvis's profits. Is that
Well, yeah, because he gambled so much.
yes?
He never fired him on stage like in the movie. But he did pick on the Colonel, or one night he introduced the Colonel in the audience. I have this on tape. He says, my manager, ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Tom Parker, or is he? Oh, he's probably out drinking mash and talking trash with Cosby.
Ah, oh, very good.
He was always gambling
That
in the
kind of
casino. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of summed him up then. but anyway, there's the people that you think are the most interesting. It seemed like Johnny Cash was a big, like it's a big friend of yours, and you were such a good friend of the families, and you knew all of them. And then you did a tribute. You did a tribute out. You sang his songs.
Yeah, I did. I just dropped my voice an octave, and there I am.
And you did
Right.
that's and you sent me the song. I never knew Johnny Cash did a song called Cindy I Love You. Did you know that,
Oh
Richard?
yeah, his daughter's name is Cindy.
No, I understand. I didn't think it was to me, but I thought that was so funny because Cindy in the 50s, that name was like had so many songs. It was like three different songs written about Cindy, but I didn't know Johnny Cash had done one. And
Oh yeah,
and then Glenn Campbell was a good friend of yours.
yeah, Glenn, and oh yeah, I just love Glenn, and he was good friends with Elvis, and in fact, I would give him pictures of him and Elvis that he didn't have, and he was a fan himself,
Oh,
and he would talk about Johnny Cash, Gene Autry, and Elvis at a drop of a hat.
that's awesome. Now tell me though, you told me a story, and you probably prefaced it with that. I would never say this over the air, but you told me a story about when the Beatles came to Vegas. They wanted to go see his show, and they
Well,
wanted to meet
when
him,
they played the Hollywood Bowl,
right?
are you talking about when they first met each other or what?
Yes, yes. And you said that, it was he didn't want to meet them. He didn't want them to come into his dressing room.
That's where. Oh, that's when uh, George Harrison and Ringo Starr came to come backstage, and they were wanting to talk to Elvis, and Elvis didn't feel like it at the time, and a couple of the guys were just like, well, yeah, I'd like to go see the Beatles. You could tell by, just the expression, and
Uh
he would
huh.
just kind of look at them. Well, if you see them, go hanging with them instead. But he didn't say it, but you
Well,
kind of sensed it.
I think that
But actually, Elvis liked the Beatles.
yeah, that's what he had said later in another interview that he says, all this new music that's coming about. I like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and so he gave homage to them. But I thought that was so interesting. Like, no, I don't need the Beatles coming into my dressing room. That's fine. And so, but I don't think there wasn't a rivalry or anything between them. I
But no,
think
there wasn't, and in fact, there was times that he would talk to the Beatles, or at least a couple of them, on the phone occasionally. And it's like George Klein was telling me about one time he was up at Graceland, and he just answered the phone, and a disc jockey friend of Elvis's, he said, "Hello," and they said, "Hello, this is John Lennon. Can I speak to Elvis?" And so he got Elvis on the
wow.
phone. So I don't know what they talked about, but. So.
I love that. But in the mood in Graceland, whenever you visited there, uh, was those guys were there like all the time? They lived there, the mafia.
Well, no, they didn't live there. Now, Richard Davis and Charlie Hodge lived there. There was usually like only two that lived there at the time.
Hmm.
And Jerry Schilling had lived there at one time. But they had their own homes, and they would just come and hang around with Elvis, when he needed them, but they were close by.
Well, did he seem like that he felt better, safer, or more comfortable with having a lot of people around him?
Well, each one had their own job for what they did. And in fact, one of their jobs, besides being valet for Elvis, Richard Davis, uh, uh, was his movie stand-in, and he was in charge of getting TV guides for every room in the house that had TV at Elvis's homes.
That's an important job, Don.
It is.
Don,
It is.
we are coming down to. We just have minutes left, and so I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you because we have to unzoom you. But I wanted to thank you so much, and you know that you're going to be a recurring guest. We have so many people that we need to talk about
Oh yeah.
that you
I want
know.
to show you this. This was one of Elvis's razors. Richard gave that to me.
Oh my
It,
goodness,
it's still got some of Elvis's whiskers in there. So,
they're still in there.
yep.
you could sell that for so much money,
Yeah, but
and
I'm
could
not
use,
going to,
yeah.
maybe when I'm 95 or 100,
Save some of the whiskers for me. I think that is just, that's weird, isn't it? Anyway, so I just want to tell you thank you so much, and we're going to have to say bye bye to you.
Well,
Love you
it's
so
great
much.
talking to you face to face, Cindy.
I know it is. It's really exciting. I have to come over here and get Richard to call you up and Zoom with you so I can. No, okay. I won't do that, Richard. All
We'll
right. Bye
do it
bye.
again, huh?
You have a great day.
You too, Cindy.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Man, that was Don Wilson, close friend of Elvis Presley's. Elvis Presley loved this guy, and so anyway, we're still on, right? And so I could keep talking, but that was fun, and I will have him on because there are just too many celebrities he knows and stories that he knows about celebrities that we've got to find out about. Anyway, so I got to tell you that. So I'm on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So this is our last day on here. Next Tuesday, we'll be replaying the Don Wilson interview. And so if anyone that missed it or you want your friends to see it, it'll be on YouTube. And you can watch it then. You can also watch it on the Lone Star, right, Richard? You want to chime in and help me make sure I don't say the wrong place? Come on, chime in. Oh, he's so shy. Come on, Richard. Don't be shy. What are you doing? Are you taking me out? Am I leaving? Oh, what?
You can hear everything that's going over the air, Cindy. You have headphones on.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why aren't you talking to
I
me?
was setting my mic up.
Oh. I thought it was like always there so you could just chime in whenever you wanted to. Everyone who is maybe just listening to this, but a lot of people that have seen the signing was not the Cindy Cochran show, not the signing was Cindy show, the Cindy Cochran show know Richard real well, and he's like such an incredible guy, and it's so much fun to be back with him because we were separated for how long? 6 years, 5 years.
I don't know. Time flies.
It was long time, but we just dropped right back into like it would never happen. I was late the first day. It was, so it worked out. It worked out well, and I haven't given you everything you need from me and all that. So I appreciate you, Richard. So go ahead and tell them where else they can see this on Tuesday.
Well, it would be on Lone Star, irlonestar.com.
IR Internet Radio, LoneStar.com, and it'll be there. But anytime you want to see something live, you go to YouTube on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday normally, and you'll see the program live. Now, next Tuesday, I've got Elvis's nurse. Her name is Tish Henley. She'll be on. And then Thursday, we're going to finally have Phyllis Ledbetter, my friend of over 50 years, and we're going to talk about and gossip and exchange stories and stuff. So she'll be on, and she has seen the Elvis movie 5 times, so I wanted to get someone that really loved that movie and tell us why. Because when I have Mindy Miller on, his girlfriend, she has a different take on the movie. So anyway, I'm so excited about you guys being here, and thank you so much for listening. And we will be back live next Wednesday. All right, I'll see you. Bye-bye. Take care.